Hey YouTube, Chad976 here. So I recently posted a video explaining why I quit Postmates. So if you haven't seen that yet, there'll be a link to it at the end of this video or in the description box. But in this video, I'm going to list 10 changes Postmates should make to the way they do business, the way they deal with drivers, and changes they should make to both the customer app and the fleet app. I really hope that the people at Postmates see this video. I'm sure a lot of other drivers have a lot of the similar complaints that I have in this video, and it'd be great if Postmates could do something about this. I mean, a lot of these complaints are, kind of pipe dreams, pie in the sky, requests. But if they implemented just a few of them, it would really improve the system and make me want to drive for them again. So, anyways, enough rambling. Let's get into top 10 ways of how to make Postmates better. Number 1, change the name. So I drive for Uber and Lyft, and whenever riders ask me about my job, I tell them that, I drive Uber, Lyft, Amazon Flex, DoorDash, and Postmates. And whenever I say Postmates, 9 out of 10 people have never even heard of it. They all seem to think it has something to do with the post office or delivering newspapers. There's something about the name Postmates that implies what it actually is, delivering food and groceries. Unlike DoorDash, Grubhub, Bite Squad, and Uber Eats, these all those things, they do a great job of implying or flat out telling you what they do in their name. But Postmates, in my opinion, it just sounds like people who are really big fans of the post office. I know it's branded, but I don't think it's too late to change the name because it really hasn't caught on yet, which brings me to point number 2, advertise more. Like I just said, when I tell people about Postmates, most of them have never even heard of it, and these are all people who are already using Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Amazon. They're not behind the times. These are all potential customers. If they knew that Postmates existed, I'm sure there would be a lot more orders coming in. So, a bigger customer base means more orders, which means more profit. This is just business 101. Does Postmates not understand this? They need to do a better job of letting the world know that they exist, because that will definitely trickle down to us, the drivers. And speaking of drivers, number 3, pay the drivers way more. Here in Orlando, the minimum you can make is about $4. It is $4 an order. That is next to nothing, considering the time and mileage you have to spend on the average order. I cover that in the reason that I quit videos. Thankfully, most of the orders I did get were for more than just the bare minimum, but I always approached every order as though I was only going to make $4 doing it, which is why I declined so many of them. With DoorDash, the minimum is $6, which is literally 50% more than what Postmates is offering. So if you drive for both companies, you're more likely to cancel a Postmates order if a DoorDash order comes in, or like if they come in at the same time, you're most likely to go with the Postmates order. It's just more likely to be lucrative. The mileage rate isn't too bad at 61 cents a mile, at least here in Orlando. It's probably different in other markets. But considering most deliveries are pretty short distance, the mileage rate is rather moot. So, more would be better, obviously. Also, and this is the most important thing, they really, really need to increase the wait time pay from 9 cents a minute to something closer to 25 cents or even 50 cents a minute. Getting paid less than a dime a minute to wait around is like prison wage. And with Postmates, you spend a ridiculous amount of time waiting around compared to DoorDash and Uber Eats, which brings me to point number 4. Do not send drivers to slow table service restaurants unless they're partnered with Postmates. Now, by partnered, I mean that the restaurant gets the customer's order directly from Postmates so that they start making the food as soon as the order is received, rather than doing the whole, you fly, I buy method where the driver gets the order, goes to the restaurant, places the order in person, and then has to wait around anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes or more. For example, look at this order for Empire Szechuan. I hardly made anything on this order, and the 21-minute wait time compensation alone accounted for about 38% of the total fare. The mileage accounted for less than 23%, and the $2 pickup drop-off fee accounted for about 39%. From the time I received the order to the time I completed delivery, it was a good half hour or more maybe, and I only made about $5, and the cheap-ass customer didn't even tip. If this restaurant had been partnered so that all I had to do was walk in, grab the food, and then walk out and deliver it, $5 for a 5 to 10 minute job would be acceptable, but then again, it's still less than what the minimum delivery rate should be, as I talked about in point number 3. If Postmates can't or won't implement this across the board, even with fast food restaurants like Uber Eats, that's understandable, but they need to at least do it with table service restaurants. No more sending drivers to table service restaurants that aren't partnered. One time I actually did an Uber Eats delivery while I was waiting for a table service order through Postmates to be ready. I talked about this in the video while I quit. I'll bet a lot of other drivers have done this too. Number 5, give drivers a hot bag that's actually a hot bag. So check this out. This is the Postmates so-called hot bag, but if you look inside, sorry the light's not very good, but you can see it's just like a canvas tote bag. There's no insulation. Compare that to, this is the DoorDash hot bag. That actually is a hot bag. You can see the silver lining inside that's actually, going to keep hot food hot and cold food cold. Why do they give us just a canvas tote bag? I do not get this at all. They're just setting the drivers and themselves up for failure. You figure a lot of people who order hot food through Postmates are really disappointed when the food arrives and it's cold. They probably take that out on the driver by not tipping them and or giving them a bad rating. But it's not the driver's fault. The bag doesn't keep the food warm. Also, it just seems unsanitary to not keep prepared foods as hot as possible. I'm kind of surprised this is even legal. Number 6, keep the merchant database up to date and fix the GPS, for God's sake. Quite a few times through Postmates, they sent me to stores that were out of business or closed for the day or like a mile or two away from their actual address. It just wastes everybody's time by not having this information accurate. And in the event that a driver does get shafted by something like this, they should get compensated for their time and mileage. I never got comped when I went to stores that weren't there. In fact, look at this order for Starbucks right here. See how it starts to add up a fare, but then the total is $0? That's because they sent me to somewhere where there was no Starbucks, and I wasted 8 minutes looking around for it, only to find out that the actual Starbucks was like a mile down the road. But it wasn't like there was anybody I could call for help, which brings me to point number 7. Give drivers the ability to talk to support personnel when problems arrive. Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash all allow their drivers to call or chat a help desk when there's a problem. Not with Postmates. If there's a problem, pretty much all you can do is cancel the order without any explanation. DoorDash will usually give me half the upfront amount if there's a problem that I can't control, like the red card is declined or the merchant is closed for the day, but with Postmates, you're just SOL. That's ridiculous. Number 8, allow drivers to rate merchants and customers. With Uber Eats and DoorDash, if a merchant is taking too long or rude or messed up the order, you can make a note of that in the app, and those companies will handle the problem with the merchant. If the customer gives you a problem, you can also make a note of that in the app. But Postmates doesn't offer either of these things. It's just, did you complete the delivery or didn't you? There needs to be some accountability on all parties involved, not just the drivers. If merchants and customers keep getting rated poorly by the drivers, then they should be kicked off the platform. It's just not worth it for us, the drivers, to put up with slow-ass restaurants and dickhead customers. Number 9, emulate DoorDash's upfront guaranteed minimum fare and pre-tipping method. With Postmates, every order is a gamble as to whether you're going to make a couple of bucks or if it's going to be really lucrative. If customers had the ability to pre-tip, and Postmates let the drivers know this, with either a guaranteed minimum fare like how DoorDash does, or even an estimated fare, then the driver is more likely to prioritize the Postmates order and handle it with more care. Like I said, I always went into every single Postmates order thinking I was only going to make $4. Also, when customers do leave a tip, you won't see this until the next day. In fact, it even says this on their website, quote, look on the bottom, quote, even if a customer tips right away, the system will not process that payment for at least 24 hours after delivery. May I ask why? With Uber and Lyft, you see the tip and your earning amount for that trip immediately as soon as they leave the tip. And if some tips after delivery with DoorDash, and you also see that money in your earnings right away. They don't keep it a secret. Why does Postmates keep your tips a secret for 24 hours or more? This makes no sense. I don't get it. Number 10, make the Fleet app easier to use. To explain what I mean, let's look at the DoorDash Fleet app. It's so well organized and laid out. There's buttons along the bottom to show you, take you right to wherever you want to go. It's like your earnings, your ratings, account preferences, all that stuff. Especially, let's look at the ratings thing. This is really helpful. See how it has, your customer rating, acceptance rate, completion rate, on time or early, total number of deliveries, all in one tab and color coded. Really easy to see. This is actually really helpful. Now let's compare this to the Postmates Fleet app. So you fire it up and it just brings you this main screen. There's a map screen and it's got this referral thing on the bottom here, which is annoying, trying to close this thing out. And then all you have is a go online button and then this kind of cryptic 4-dot thing in the top corner. So you fire that up. And then this is slightly helpful where it does tell you like the bonus things and all that. An available balance, and then you just see newsroom and deliveries. Is there anything on there that would say like where you would go to see your ratings or any kind of feedback or anything? If you actually want to see your rating, for some reason it's under newsroom, but you have to do at least 20 deliveries before you can even see your rating, and I only did 15, so you won't be able to see it. The deliveries history is nice. I will say that is nice, and being able to see the breakdown of the mileage, distance, all like this is like kind of how Uber and Lyft have the breakdown, which I will say I do like this, but just overall the Fleet app is not that great. Another thing I do like about it, if you zoom out here, you can see the hotspots, like just the neighborhoods that are ordering a lot more, and of course where I live is completely dead, which is why I never get orders around here. Yeah, so I think that it about does it. I did have a few other minor suggestions, but this list was really long as it was already, so I left them out. And sorry, this video is so long. If you watched all the way to the end, you are awesome. If you're a Postmates driver, let me know if you agree or disagree with any of these points, or if you have other suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I really hope the bigwigs at Postmates see this video. If they implemented even a few of these changes, especially 3, 4, 7, and 9, it would definitely give me an incentive to work for them again. In the meantime, I'm just going to work for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and Amazon Flex. So, they're not, I'm not working for them right now. Be sure to check out some of my other videos on working the gig economy life. And as always, thanks for watching. See ya.